Let me sum up. In the years since 1864, the late Marquis de Montmirail made 4 wills. In every one, he refers to the fact that he gave the Villa de Colombe to the now Dowager Countess of Grantham in 1865. I brought the originals. I will leave copies.
Then clearly it wasn't something that slipped his mind. He meant to do this thing and he stuck by his decision. I feel better for that.
She must have had some hold over him. She must have blackmailed him.
Maman, this is a foolish response.
We shall challenge it in court.
On what basis, madam? You have other houses. There's no question of hardship. Your husband bought the villa and disposed of it before he even met you. My advice would be to surrender the property without delay.
Thank you so much. Do you mean to accept this?
Of course. My father made me sole executor, Lord Grantham. I like to think it was because he trusted me to carry out his wishes.
Then why did you invite us here?
Because I was curious to meet you. My father and your mother spent a week together in October 1864.
And I was born in July 1865.
Precisely. I think that's the key to why he gave her the villa 1 month later. In gratitude for your birth. In short, I believe you and I have a great deal in common.
I don't know how long he's thought about it, but once he checked the dates, he was sure. I was born exactly 9 months after, and I quote, the idyllic interlude they spent together. And he gave her the villa soon after I was born.
I'm sure that's all coincidence.
Are you? It would explain the mystery.
Your father loved you very much.
But Rosamond's the one who looks like him.
I hope this helps, milady.
Thank you, Baxter. Good night.
Good night.
What's that for? Are you all right?
Just a bit of heartburn, I'm fine.
What will happen if the story gets out, do you think? I suppose Carson will hand in his notice.
Don't be ridiculous. You're the least French person I've ever met. You don't even like garlic.
That's not exactly cast iron proof. Oh, my goodness.
What is it?
Look.
Who is she?
That is the Lady Grantham I first went to work for as a young hall boy, wet behind the ears.
Granny.
Heavens.
Thank you, Carson. Could you leave us a moment? What does it say?
Violette, mon adoré.
Gosh. When was it painted? And why was she his adored one? Because she granted the ultimate favor?
They were only together for a few days. Does it sound likely?
And it's just a coincidence that Papa was born 9 months later.
I expect when she got home, your grandpapa was jolly pleased to see her.
Anyway, what's clear is Monsieur de Montmirail was madly in love with her. When did he marry?
Oh, I know that. I looked him up. He married in 1870, 5 years after Robert was born. And the present Marquis arrived in 1873.
So the villa was a sort of parting gift to your grandmother before he looked around for a wife?
That's what it sounds like.
Evidently.
You know the miniatures in the library? One of them is of Granny, and it's engraved on the side.
I've seen it. I have been obliged to see it there for more than half a century. But he forbade me to move it. He made me swear.
So I hope you will warmly welcome our successors at the villa. And with the Bransons, perhaps you'll see Lord Grantham, whom I think I may now call my good friend. Laissez-les dans vos cœurs.
There are blues that you get from worry. There are blues that you get from pain.
He's handled it all with such good manners.
Because he thinks I'm his brother. For a second there, I thought he was going to say it.
You can't talk like that. Your father loved you enough.
But it's not enough, is it? Not when I might be a lifelong fraud. A Frenchman's bastard who usurped the role of the proper heir.
Well, that would have been Matthew's father, and now Matthew's son will inherit, so what difference does it make in the long run?
They're the very meanest kind that bruise my naughty sweetie gives to me.
I'm afraid it's a real blow for Papa to find he may be an imposter. If it's true, he'll be crushed.
Filming must be the slowest occupation known to man. It makes a glacier look impatient.
I suppose Robert's in hell. He was longing for it all to be over by the time they got back.
You could ease his pain if you wish. We found the letters of Monsieur de Montmirail, but Robert still doesn't have the answer he needs.
I won't pretend not to understand you. Did they tell you about the miniature?
What's its significance?
Well, could you fetch it? It's in the bottom right-hand drawer. If you open it at the back, you'll find the letter he sent with it. It's still there, after all this time. Could you read it?
Chère Violette, we have missed the chance to know perfect love. But we still can if you would only change your mind. Why didn't you just tell us?
There was nothing to tell. Nothing happened.
Apart from years of being pestered.
Well, no, that's not quite right.
Then what is?
I never saw him after that. I knew I'd have given in. If I'd been tested again, I would have failed.
Oh.
I was a fool for love in those days. A few years later, we went to Russia, and I got into terrible trouble. Well, I nearly did.
With Prince Kuragin, yes, I know. How did you avoid it with the Marquis?
I can't think. He was the most attractive man I'd ever met in my life. But I hadn't long been married, and it must have seemed a shame, to spoil that.
I wish you'd said all this.
I didn't want you to think my life had been a fraud, when it hasn't. I was happy with Robert's father, but, well, happy enough in that English way when you never talk about anything, but you trust each other. If they'd put Kuragin and Montmirail together, I would have come out as some sort of scarlet woman.
You don't seem very scarlet to me.
Well, I'm trusting you to make sure that's not how I'm remembered.
Well, the next Earl will be Matthew's son. My grandson, your great-grandson. I'll do my best to see he values you.